This October, Oni Press and Spectrovision are proud to present High Strangeness, a startling new 5-part experiment in comic book storytelling.
Inspired by first-hand accounts of real paranormal encounters within the dimly lit borderlands of human experience, each 40-page prestige format chapter of High Strangeness will interrogate overlapping phenomena like UFOs, hauntings, cryptid sightings, and inexplicable synchronicities that together seem to indicate a higher, unseen order of reality.
Teaming Spectrovision co-founder and real-life experiencer Daniel Noah with an otherworldly cast of comic talents, including Christopher Cantwell, Cecil Castellucci, good friend of the show Christian Ward, and more. High Strangeness Book 1 arrives on October 8th to investigate a 1967 encounter with the strange beings known as the Men in Black, with superstar writer Chris Condon, Ringo Award-winning artist Dave Chisholm, and cover artist Jock.
Look for High Strangeness Book 1 on shelves October 8th at a local comic shop near you. Only from Oni Press.
Hey, it's David Weiner, writer, director, producer of the In Search of Darkness trilogy and the upcoming In Search of Darkness 90s and In Search of Tomorrow, and a guy who's constantly on eBay trying to reclaim his childhood one toy at a time. And you are listening to The Oblivion Bar.
Welcome to the Oblivion Bar podcast with your host, Chris Hacker and Aaron Knowles.
Hello, kitties. Welcome to episode 218 of the Oblivion Bar podcast. I'm the OG lead organizer of Zoe Trilling's fan club, Chris Hacker, and joining me is the sluttiest 30-foot demon snake, my co-host and BFF, Aaron Knowles.
What a striking young buck you are. How's about a little head, tiger?
That was a great Angela voice, Aaron. You know, I was a little curious on how you'd be able to pull that out just randomly, like as you saw in the transcript, but that was great.
Thank you. Yeah. I pride myself on my Angela voice. It's always fun to
Practice, especially at night.
You are definitely the more eccentric.
Oh, like impressionist.
Yeah, you're better at improv, I guess is probably the best way to. Yeah, I'm definitely not that.
Yeah, Carly calls me a noise machine, like a noise box, a noise maker.
I like that.
She's
good.
like, how do you make so many different sounds? And I'm like, and that's the thing is like, do you ever, I should ask Olivia this. Have you ever just like heard a sound or heard a voice and then just immediately tried to like imitate it?
Like a vocal stem, like it gets stuck in your head. I'm sure I have, but it's not something I often do.
I do it way too much. I do it to her. Like I do it all the fucking time. Now I realize that might be, might be something wrong with me.
We need to reflect on this.
We do. I might need
we should
talk to a doctor.
we need to get a specialist on the phone. But I will say, before we get to that internal look, Aaron, we need to talk about something that I've been extremely excited to eventually chat about here on the podcast. Now, everybody, as you've clicked on this episode, you know that we are talking about Night of the Demons 2. This is one of my favorite schlocky horror films, B-rated horror films of all time. This is, of course, Aaron, our 6th annual Halloween special. I bring it up at least every year, at least once, to be like, Aaron,
I believe so.
I sort of just test the waters and see how you feel about it. And, you know, you don't ever outright say no, but we always.
How could I tell you no? How could I tell you no? I can never.
We've always gone to something else, which is totally fine. But I think this is a great year to talk about this movie that I think does not get enough credit. I think that it is something, or I think it's an entry and a sequel to a franchise that not many people know or care about. But I think there's some hidden genius in there. And it's one that I will unironically say is a lot better than I remember it even being. Like I've always thought of it as sort of this stupid schlocky horror film that I, for some reason, have glommed onto because of nostalgia and the VHS cover being cigarette burned into my brain. But like rewatching it with fresh eyes in 2025 as a 34-year-old.
Yeah.
I like legitimately enjoyed this for a host of new reasons.
And it's because there's a need for it. And I could tell you this, like from personal experience, this is my first time watching it. So thank you for the introduction to this gem. But there's also this, I actually found myself today we're recording this October 29th. And I'll tell you what I feel. And I said this out loud earlier. I said, I have not watched enough Halloween horror, whatever type movies, and we're 2 days to Halloween. Not that I need an excuse to, but
Right.
'tis the season, and
That's
tis the season's almost fucking over. But like there's the fun ones like like Nightmare Before Christmas and Paranorman, Halloween Town, like those ones, and then you have ones like this where right in the middle, and then you have your what's a scary one that's
Hereditary, Saw,
yes, Midsummer, like
Halloween.
Yeah, some of these fucking crazy ones, and it's like there's a need for the like right down the middle, and then the funny. But however, there's also a different need, Chris. I have my own personal needs.
Ooh, okay, yeah,
and that is to do a quick flash discussion on two things: Tron Aries, because we haven't talked about it on the show, on the actual feed at all, and then also Peacemaker season 2. So I need you to give me just a few moments.
Yeah, sure. And I'm glad you're bringing this up because I totally agree. We obviously pride ourselves in being some of the biggest Tron fans in existence, perhaps. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah. Every time we talk to people about our sort of combined, but also our individual love of the Tron franchise, people are always like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Daft Punk made a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it's true.
Like we get the by digital jazz of it all. Sure. Okay, whatever. But like we love it. I mean, our Patreon exclusive show, which we'll talk about here in a moment, is called The Grid.
Yeah.
Like our whole aesthetic is built on biodigital jazz. So I agree. Let's talk about it. We were at New York Comic Con. We had a ton of interviews.
Too busy of a week.
Too busy. Yeah. And we wanted to get to Halloween, as you said, like it, not only did it kind of sneak up on us, but we're busy October, but I agree. So first let's talk about Tron Aries, which is currently bombing, which is not a surprise. Every single Tron has bombed in some way or another,
so
but
sad.
Yeah, I kind of felt like this was going to happen, almost from the jump for a couple of reasons. A, Jared Leto. I mean, need I say more, honestly?
I agree. He's a weird choice, but I think we've both talked about this and we both like him in this role.
That's sort of the juxtaposition of what we're saying here is that like, yeah, totally. On the surface, remember when we first talked about Tron Aries, which I want to say was in the first 10 episodes of this podcast back in April of 2020, where it was announced that Jared Leto was going to be headlining this film. It wasn't going to be Garrett Hedlund. I don't even think Jeff Bridges was attached to the film at that time. I think Joseph Krasinski had come out and said that Jared Leto was attached to it, and we immediately rolled our eyes because this was around the time of the DCU or DCEU, I guess, Joker of it all, right? Suicide Squad and all that. Not to mention Jared Leto was just kind of a creep in general. But I agree. Watching this film, and we actually saw the film together in New York at the Lincoln Square AMC in New York City and Manhattan.
Yeah.
And we saw it on one of the largest IMAX screens in the world with our good friend Nick Denizio from the Effin' Nerds.
How'd you feel about seeing that screen?
Amazing. It was one of the coolest movie-going experiences, definitely of recent memory, but I would even dare to say of all time.
Nice.
And I feel like that's a large statement to make, especially about Tron Aries, a film that, again, has not been doing well at the box office. But there's nothing like everybody. I think if you take anything from this quick chat about Tron, if you're on the East Coast and there's a big, loud, impressive movie to be seen on an IMAX, go to Lincoln Square. Right, Aaron? Like it's like a truly a definitive experience.
It is just when you look at it, and that was the most like magical thing of that evening was actually seeing Chris kind of in awe of this massive screen. Because to be honest, every time I see it as well, I mean, I live here, so every time I see it, I'm actually impressed with the size of it myself. Heyo. So I mean, that's a huge bitch. So it's definitely worth the trip to come up and see. Really anything on that screen. If they make it for IMAX like they did Tron Aries, then that is the screen to see it on.
Totally. Again, very quickly here, music is great. Obviously, Nine Inch Nails, the whole team there, absolutely just Trent Reznor has been killing it just in general when it comes to soundtracks. He also did the criminally overlooked and criminally unawarded Challenger soundtrack that did not get awarded. It wasn't even nominated for best score last year. So anyway, point being is that it's not Daft Punk, it's not Tron Legacy. That's a high bar. Aaron, we've talked about how that's like one of our favorite soundtracks, if not our favorite soundtrack of all time. It's like, for me, it's like Boogie Nights and Tron Legacy are my two favorite soundtracks ever. And again, seeing in that environment was incredible. Here's the thing. We talked about it right after as we left the theater with Nick. I had a really good time with it. And I sort of compared it to it being sort of just like a fun roller coaster. I went in with the lowest of expectations. Everybody that I had heard talk about it in non-spoiler ways said the movie was horrific and that it was a CGI Disney throw-up mess. And I was like, no. as soon as we left the theater, and I think I decided this pretty early on before even like the halfway mark, I was like, I'm having a good time with this movie, and I'm not going to fight the urge to like just let myself enjoy it.
It's one of those movies where you completely, I did the same thing. I shirked all pre-existing notions before I went into that theater, and I'm like, I am here to experience this. And for me, like there are some things that are clearly like problematic and like plot holes and like, whatever they call them, just things that I'm like, that's a choice, but like overall, I had a great time. Loved the music. Not once while watching this film did I think that this movie looked like shit. It looks great. Not a second. And that's hard to find in any movie these days. It's hard to see any movie and go, that CGI just doesn't look, just saying it doesn't look bad, but like, you don't watch movies these days in theater and say that's amazing CGI, like you did with Tron Aries. Especially with like Disney recently. Like they are known for making the worst looking $200 million movies in Hollywood, So, okay. Greta Lee's great. Evan Peters is great. I want more of Evan Peters and Greta Lee down the line. Gillian Anderson was rarely used. And when she was used, it was badly. I think that's one of my biggest pitfalls of this film. Hassan Minaj is okay. Jodie Turner-Smith is great. Pointless character.
Yeah. Jodie Turner-Smith as Athena is great. I like her. I would love to see her come back, even though she is, spoilers, killed at the end. But anyway, and again, as you said, so I think sort of the final stamp of Tron Aries is that we're not going to get another one of these, at least not in this current format, right? I wish we could go more in depth about it, but I will say that I want more of this in some capacity, whether it's like a Disney Plus series or a low budget sequel to this, where we bring in Sam and you bring Cora in as well, and you get them all, you get the band together with Aries and do a thing. Whatever. I don't care. Like I like this universe. I want more of it. I mean, they're clearly left. Like, there was there's like a mid-credit scene and clearly room for more, which, I mean, I think anybody that saw it and enjoyed it will want that. Anybody that saw it and even didn't enjoy it like totally will want more, I feel like. But again, I agree with it, whatever sense it's going to be. I hope to see more of this because again, it was not, I don't think this movie deserved to bomb. And we talked about this. I think people who love Tron or like are sort of like interested in nerd culture and love that aesthetic of like the grid and red light, blue light, all that crap, you're going to like this. I think if you have no interest, which I think a lot of modern audiences, especially in today's climate, they don't care. And, that's just, and Disney does not have the best, they've been losing credibility over the last couple of years with the MCU and Star Wars. And I think original content, this is what they do, is a lot of times when Disney is failing in some capacity with their major surefire hits, they'll bring out a Tron movie and then that'll fail. And then people will go, oh, wait, hold on. I thought Disney was making bad movies. What happened? So anyway, let's end the Tron talk. I'm glad we at least got it here on the show. Yeah. Aaron, what are you going to give Tron out of 5 David Weiners? I mean, I'm going to give it 3.5. Same. Yeah, 3.5 feels really solid to me. I think it's a really good at bat. It's not better than Legacy. I think Legacy is probably a 4 for me. And then I'm looking at it with like different, I'm looking at it through the eye of time, the first Tron. Like I think if I had been there, my mind may have been blown by that movie. Because if you know anything about the process of how they made the first Tron, you maybe could appreciate it in a whole nother light. But the movie outside of the special effects and the way they created it is pretty dull in my opinion. But Legacy, I think, is still the benchmark for this franchise. 100%. Yeah. All right, Aaron, let's get into Peacemaker season 2 really quickly here. So this obviously came out through HBO back in August. It ended on October 9th when we were at New York Comic Con. There were, I want to say it was 8 episodes, which I thought was kind of crazy. For some reason, I thought it was 10. Yeah. But we reviewed Peacemaker season 1 a couple years ago here on the show, and we both absolutely loved it. Absolutely, yeah. I think we both gave it 4.5s. It was, at that time, I don't think either one of us had given out of 5, and I think it was the closest we had ever gotten to giving out of 5, both of us. And I was excited that we got this new season of Peacemaker in a world where like that version of the DCU that James Gunn initially created, or at least set this world in, with the Suicide Squad, or I guess Suicide Squad, not the, is it the Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad? Man. Which one is which? I think it is the. Yeah. Okay. So it's that world, but like, even that's not really canon. That's like one of the biggest hangups in this whole second season is like, what's canon? And they pretty much highlight that immediately, right?
Yeah, I think James Gunn came in and said if it was before anything, I think it was anything before Superman or Creature Commandos or something wasn't supposed to be canon, but anything mentioned in season 2 of Peacemaker is canon. So like in Peacemaker, like the first episode, I mean, they even bring up like Starro, like what happened to Starro.
Right. So the Suicide Squad is canon.
Yeah, I believe so, from what I understood, from what he said, and from the way I'm taking it. If it was mentioned in Suicide Squad season 2, before
Peacemaker season 2,
excuse me, Peacemaker season 2, and then it is considered canon now, and so that would make the Suicide Squad canon.
So that means Harley Quinn is still around, and Ratcatcher and King Shark and all those folks.
Yep.
Anyway, initial thoughts on Peacemaker season 2, Aaron?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was disappointed. I'll be honest. Like overall,
really enjoyed it to disappointed. Really, that was.
I really enjoyed. Well, okay, I said overall because watching it, sure. I enjoyed it. It sucks having to wait for stuff weekly, but watching it. As I watched each episode, I was really excited. I really enjoyed it. And I'll say, like, at the end of it, though, I was slightly disappointed with it.
So Olivia and I watched this weekly. We, I think, loved it all the way up to the final episode. I think that's kind of where I started to, it didn't end in a way that I found really interesting or satisfying even.
Exactly.
The whole, I love these characters. I love this group of folks that are, on the show, this entire team. You obviously Peacemaker is one of the best parts of the DCU thus far. Abadayo's, she's great. Of course, Freddie Stromo as Vigilante is great. Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt is great. Economist Rick Flag Sr. was a good inclusion in the season. Obviously, you get the return of Augie Smith, aka Blue Dragon, in this series. Anyway, point being is that, like, yeah, there's a lot to love. It's definitely not as good as the first season, but I think that's, again, kind of a high benchmark. I think the real question, though, Aaron, is do you like the opening better than the first season?
No. I loved the music and the dance scene from the first season.
Yeah. I
enjoyed the intro to season 2, but for a completely different reason. And it's because in the season 2 entry, I could actually tell this time that they were kind of like telling the story of the actual show in the dance routine. And
through interpretive dance.
Interpretive, yeah, basically it was a contemporary, I think is actually the name of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I've been side watching some Dancing with the Stars.
And that's our weekly segment of Aaron's current obsession. It's contemporary dance.
It's not an obsession. I just think it's nice. Okay.
I just really like it.
Just really love it. And am doing it and practicing, taking classes twice a week. No. Again, like just the fact this time that I could see that it was telling a story and I enjoyed it. And it was kind of like, oh, that's like credits this time, or the intro this time told a sad story, which this season was a very sad story.
Definitely.
So I liked it for that, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first seasons, just because it was simply ridiculous and unseen.
Yeah, it definitely, again, it sort of came out of nowhere. And I guess from a banger standpoint, like as a pure, just like get your juices flowing rock song. And of course, and I'm speaking on Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam. That's the first season.
Wigwam.
And then you have Wigwam. What did I say? Wigwam?
Yeah.
Wigwam? Tomato. And then Oh Lord by Foxy Shazam.
Yes.
Now, I call this the anime effect, Aaron, and you'll appreciate this, and I think listeners will too. When Olivia and I were watching episode 1 of season 2, I was like,
can I guess?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
The guess is that you thought it was a woman singing.
That's a good guess, but no. It's more of like a personal feeling of when I first saw it, I was like, ugh, I don't like this. I like the first season. I mean, where's my freaking wigwam? I need a, do you really want to taste it? And then like episode 3, I'm like, I'm kind of softening to this. I kind of like this a little bit. And then by like episode 7, I'm like singing along and doing the dances. And every time Eagly does his little shimmy, like 20 seconds in, I'm like giggling and almost crying because I love Eagly so much. So like, I guess my question is for like again, as a song, which one do you like better? Do you want to taste it, or do you like Oh Lord better?
Ooh, I think as a song, I like Oh Lord.
I do too, I think. Yeah. I think I like the season 1 opening better, like as a act, but like the song is not like I guess the opening for season 2 is not far behind, but the song is better.
Can we just agree that both seasons of Peacemaker have outstanding soundtracks?
Totally. Yeah. It's a hair metal, just like man-child, like Wet Dream. That's the name of the soundtrack. It's
rocking a boner in your whitey tighties.
That's right. Driving down the highway at 95.
Yeah.
In a 1987.
Just based out of your mind on fucking cocaine.
That's right. Drinking a Bud Heavy.
Yeah.
So
Jolt
anyway,
Cola.
the point being is that like these two themes are amazing. And again, as I said, we can sort of end it here because I don't have as much to say about Peacemaker season 2 as I did Tron Aries. I don't feel as bad about sort of just glazing over this one, but I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I want more of this universe. I love these characters, but it's not as good as season 1.
And we're not going to get another season 2 of Peacemaker because they are now, I forget the name of
Season
their
3.
We're not going to get season 3, excuse me, because what are they now? What's the name of their investigative company? It was,
Argus?
No.
You're talking about the team?
The one that because they started a team, and that's going to be like the new direction for them.
Oh, Checkmate.
Checkmate, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's going to be like the new direction for whatever show or whatever they're involved in going into the future that's going to be part of the DCU with James Gunn. So
we do get a pretty wild cliffhanger though for the end of the season.
Yes.
Which of course is, and spoilers, I guess, for everybody who hasn't seen Peacemaker season 2, skip ahead 15 seconds. Chris is basically kidnapped by Rick Flag Sr. and the Argus team and is basically left on this planet called Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
You start hearing some noises and we don't know anything about this planet outside of the fact that it has like a similar atmosphere as Earth.
Which is interesting because the doors, we don't know if those are just necessarily different Earths that have, because again, you can't say that every single Earth is going to have humans. You can't say that every single Earth is going to have the same development. So we don't know if the little candy creatures are in Earth or an alien world. Are these all just doors that are connected to whatever system this thing has that little alien that
could be another planet in our world, or in our universe. Yeah.
So we don't know if it's an Earth. We don't know if it's not an Earth.
Right.
Where he is. So there's a lot of speculation on, some people are saying that there's another planet that is just like where he gets like people get crazy powers or some shit. Like there's a whole lot of people, like go to Reddit, people. Just go to fucking Reddit and read that shit. It's good. Trust me. A lot of good ideas.
Well, I trust James Gunn, Peter Safran, this entire team. So, and apparently they're going to be showing, this is not really Peacemaker related, but apparently they're showing the teaser trailer for Superman Man of Tomorrow. Somehow they have a teaser trailer for the second Superman movie already. And they're showing it on December 1st to folks within Warner Brothers.
I'm calling bullshit. It's literally just going to be like a flash of the crest.
Yeah. It's just going to be like, it's going to be the John Williams score. Yeah. It's going to be David Cornsweet just like shining Lex Luthor's head, just doing that. All right, everybody. Aaron, out of 5 David Wires, what do you give Peacemaker season 2? I'm
going to give it a 3.5, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to match you on that one as well. It's a solid 3.5. I think like
this is lazy journalism.
Yeah, we're really just like kind of a little close on the like-mindedness here, but yeah, I think it was really enjoyable in the same way. Like I think that Tron Aries and Peacemaker season 2 are two very different 3.5s.
Very much so. Yeah, so, can't agree with it anymore.
Yeah, it's like Tron Aries was projected to be a 2.5, maybe a 2, and it overperformed, and it surprised me to the point where like I could recommend this really healthily.
Complete opposite with.
I'm at the same point. I got to the same point with Peacemaker season 2. It's that I expected a 4.5, but it just didn't quite hit that mark, especially with the finale and sort of the overall arc of the story. So it backtracked a little bit, but still very enjoyable and recommendable. That makes sense?
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
All right, that'll do it for our quick. Sorry, we did 25 minutes of that, everybody, but we just had to talk about Tron and Peacemaker because
I'm talking here.
We're contractually obligated to talk about nerd things here. So let's stop the nerd talk, Aaron. Let's get into some sexy, slutty demons. Everybody,
leave room for Jesus.
I'm ready to hear Aaron's thoughts on this. But before we get into Night of the Demons 2 and our 6th annual Halloween special, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Endless Comics, Games, and Cards. Whether you are a dedicated Wednesday warrior or looking for the latest drop of TCG or sports cards, Endless Comics, Games, and Cards has you covered. While Endless is known for their large collection of both single-issue comics and library of graphic novels, not to mention their monthly comic book club, they also stay fully stocked with singles and sealed product for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and many others. What's the best part? You can set up a pull list online at endlesscgc.com and they'll send your books to you. So head on over to endlesscgc.com or check them out on social media at endlesscgc.
Main topic.
Alrighty, let's talk about Night of the Demons 2. Aaron.
Yeah.
Before, actually, I'm already getting way ahead of myself. Tell the folks at home.
so
really quickly.
excited, aren't you?
I am very excited. I'm very excited to talk about this movie. Because here's the thing. So the thing we'll talk about while talking about this movie is that there's no info on this movie, everybody. Go right now, after this episode releases, go to YouTube, go to Google, go to Letterboxd, whatever you want, IMDb, just type in Night of the Demons 2 and see what comes up. It's going to be a couple trailers, little to no trivia, and a Wikipedia page, and that's basically it. We will be one of the top searches for this movie after we release this movie, because I'm excited to talk about it because no one else cares. No one else cares about this movie except for me and possibly you. Before we get to this movie, though, Aaron, tell the folks, 6th annual Halloween special. Tell them what we've covered in the past here on the Oblivion Bar.
My face hurts. If you guys could like, if I don't know if nobody knows the pure joy of seeing like your best friend like just excited, like I'm
talking about a movie that no one cares about.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So our previous Halloween specials, which we'll have links to all of these in our show notes, so go check those out. But 2020, I was not there for. That was you, Chris. That was our first Halloween special with special co-host Max Van Dongen, who joined Chris to discuss their favorite unsung horror flicks.
Funny thing about that episode, everybody, is it was like episode 6. So very early on in the show's history, but also one of the, go and listen to it. It's still on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. One of the movies that I recommend in that, actually, I think 2 of the movies that I recommend in that conversation are 2 of the movies that we've covered in this segment, which are Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Humans! You're not worth the flesh you're printed on! Fuck this cowboy shit! You fucking ho-dunk, po-dunk, well then there, motherfuckers! All you have to do is give me the goddamn key!
And Night of the Demons 2.
Yes, surely. Sister Gloria, is fellatio a mortal sin or a venial sin? Fellatio. I don't think I'm familiar with that term. Could you please explain to the class exactly what that means? What's the matter, Miss Finnerty? Cat got your tongue?
We're just making it through Chris's entire favorite
13
catalog.
Ghosts next year, everybody.
Yeah. In 2021, we discussed Frank Henenlotter's 1982 low-budget schlocky horror Basket Case. I feel like this was my choice.
It was. Yeah, this was your first choice with this segment, and I'm happy that we watched it because that movie is just an absolute fever dream.
It's haunting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Speaking of like this, I think Basket Case walked so that Night of the Demons 2 could run, right? Like, without Basket Case, there's no Night of the Demons, I don't think.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Frank Henenlotter.
In 2022, hello, kitties. I think that was pretty good. In 2022, we covered the first film from the Tales from the Crypt franchise, the earlier mentioned, the aforementioned 1995's Demon Knight.
It was a fun episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
In 2023, Kunda, Estrata, Montase, Kanda. In 2023, we covered Fede Alvarez's 2013 reimagining of the Evil Dead, but it's not. It's just Evil Dead.
Yeah, you can't confuse the folks at home.
Can't
the Evil Dead is the first one. You got it's The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead. No, sorry, you dropped the for 2. It's The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness.
Yep.
then I think it's actually Evil Dead from 2013, and then it's Evil Dead Rise, which we talked about here on the show, and so on. So
I'm
still really
another one.
But we actually just got like a small teaser of the next one, which I'm spacing the name of right now. But it looks interesting, and more Evil Dead, the better, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
and then 2024,
I'm coming to get you, Barbara.
So last year we talked about Edgar Wright's first entry in the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, which, by the way, I just introduced Carly to Hot Fuzz.
Nice. Yeah, now you have to watch The World's End. At some point, I want to get Olivia into Hot Fuzz and The World's End because the Cornetto trilogy, I think you'd even show her a couple episodes of Space. That's not really technically in the Cornetto trilogy, but I think it's adjacent. Those are, all 3 of those movies are great. And I think Shaun of the Dead I think we even talked about during that episode that Shaun of the Dead is my favorite, but I think it's Hot Fuzz is your favorite. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Have you ever fired 2 guns whilst diving through the air?
For the great or good.
For the great or good.
All right, well, let's talk about
Yarp.
this, again, this movie that I've been very excited to talk about, Night of the Demons 2. Now, Aaron, how did you watch this movie? Because as I talked about a minute ago, and we'll talk about it more in depth here in a moment, this movie was sort of lost in time for a bit. And the reason why and I guess this is a little personal history on me, the reason why I have such an affinity for this movie and the reason why I still remember it to this day is I remember very vividly going over to my mom's friend's house as a young kid, and seeing his like wall of VHSs. And he had all these horror VHSs like Leprechaun and House and Halloween and like all these different VHSs you've seen. If you're from the 90s, you know this wall. Like everybody had one of these, or some of these people had walls like this. And one of them was Night of the Demons 2. He didn't have Night of the Demons 3 or 1. He had 2 for some reason. And the cover,
I was overjoyed to see that there's a 3, by the way.
and here's the thing, everybody. I'll just tell you right off the top so we don't have to talk about it. 1 is okay. 3 sucks. It's terrible. All right. It's not good. So don't watch those ones. 2 is the beginning and end of your Night of the Demons journey. So anyway, this wall of VHSs, it's there. It's cigarette burning in my brain, this cover. And it just stayed with me over these years. And eventually
such a thing a child should not look at.
Totally. This movie, as we talk about it, is so damning in like my preferences in a lot of things. And we'll get into what those things are. Definitely not snake demon ladies, but we'll get into it. Aaron, I asked you the question, I haven't let you answer it. How did you see the movie?
I watched it just in my office on my screen right in front of me, streamed it.
Nice. Amazon, I'm assuming, or something of that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It is available, I think, like, is it like 720? What's the quality on that one, on the streaming?
I think it's 720.
Yeah, it's not great from what I understand, but
that might be upscale too.
I actually, and we'll talk about it here in a moment, but Shout Factory put out a box set of the Blu-rays, and I think you can actually even watch the first one. You can get the 4K of the first movie. But Shout Factory, shout out to Shout Factory, they are often putting older, sort of forgotten film, not just horror films. Scream Factory is sort of their subsection of their new distribution line, where they put out Blu-rays with extra content. They put one out for the Night of the Demons trilogy. That's what I have here. So I rewatched it in 1080p, watched a bunch of commentaries. They have like the dailies, it shows you like the behind the scenes, the raw footage. And then what I thought was really cool about the box set was they had what was called like the raw film, where you can watch the VHS before they remastered it. So you can it's like watching the VHS again, just, obviously in Blu-ray form. So it has like that fog around it.
Yeah, let's not forget to remind the listeners that they can also see some clips and some information about this in a good friend of the show, David Weiner's In Search of Darkness. You can see some clips, interviews, etc. on Night of the Demons 2.
Yeah, it's actually in Search of Darkness 90 through 94. I think he's doing 2 parts, 90 through 94, 95 through 99. And we had him on the show to talk about it, David. He's obviously our rating system, and he's a horror obsessive. I reached out to him to see if he wanted to comment on In Search of Darkness, and he was just so busy with In Search of Darkness 95 through 99 that he couldn't get to us. But he said next time he comes on the show, he'll talk about Night of the Demons and sort of his affinity for it. Leading up to the preparation of this film and discussing this film, I went back and I rewatched that segment there in Search of Darkness 90 through 94. And it's really interesting to hear Angela in the film, the actress's name is Amelia Kincaid, to hear her talk about sort of the making of and how she's like sort of the central pillar of this franchise. She's the only one that appears in all 3 of these Night of the Demon movies. And she truly is like the main character, even though she's used very sparingly in her Angela form in the first movie, Aaron. And I guess this might lead us into maybe my next question for you is she is sort of the catalyst of this demonic setting and like going to Hull House. She tricks her friends in the first movie to go and have a Halloween party at this house, having already summoned this demon to possess her and then the rest of the folks in this house at this party, these high school folks. And I will say in a very I say this in a very broad way, everybody, so please don't hear what I'm not saying. This movie is trying really hard to be Evil Dead.
Yes.
If you watch the first one, and I think you can even see it in the second one a little bit, but especially in the first one, if you watch that first one, it's really channeling its inner Sam Raimi to a point where if they had maybe $20,000 or $30,000 more and a Bruce Campbell on set, they could have remade Evil Dead with the same story.
That honestly, my question watching this was what age range is this aimed at?
Definitely not the age that I watched it at, which was 6. It's probably for your young adult. This was and Aaron, as you know this, the 90s was the era of the teenage horror. You're not supposed to be watching this, but you're definitely going to watch this movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna sneak into this rated R PG-13 movie as a kid. You know, my friends are gonna let me in, or we're gonna rent it from Blockbuster because I couldn't watch it in theater, and all my friends are gonna come over and we're gonna watch a scary movie and get scared.
Yeah.
You know, like that for me, and that's where, like, to me, it felt like this was aimed at almost a like early teenager, like 12, 13,
Totally.
14, because there's like a super soaker in it. You know, and they make it seem so badass. Like, I got a Uzi here. You know, it's like, it's a fucking super soaker, dude.
Yeah. The holy squirt gun.
The holy squirt gun.
Someone
But
gets
there's
called
like,
a dweeb in this movie at one
yeah,
point.
there's so much sex and like just groping and like more than your average, like, oh, here's a movie where kids are going to watch it. Let's put some like sexy type, like a couple of, you know, boobs. Like, okay, I'll compare it to something like, Camp Crystal Lake or Friday the 13th or something like, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, where there was like the gratuitous nip slip or, you know, wet t-shirt running because they just climbed out of the lake.
Yeah.
This is just like, give them everything they want.
Totally. Yeah. It's definitely, I think one of the superpowers of this movie, it's fully aware of what it's capable of and what is interesting about it. And the first one is definitely not as horned up, but it is kind of horned up. Like it's a little horned up. There's a character in the movie in the first one called Suzanne, who's the friend of Angela, who gets possessed at one point. Funny enough, the lipstick that is seen in this movie is actually Suzanne's. And she, in the first movie, when she becomes possessed, she hides that lipstick. She like pushes it through her areola and like hides it in there. It's like, apparently it's one of the most iconic sort of B horror scenes ever. Obviously we see that come up again in this movie, and that's sort of the significance of it. But let me ask you another question here, Aaron. What are your overall thoughts of this movie? Because from my understanding, and you haven't really said anything about it, which I'm happy about because I want to talk about it during this episode, but it sounds like this movie may have escaped you as a young person and you're seeing it and you're like seeing this franchise for the first time.
I've never seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I've never watched it.
Ever heard of it?
I've heard of it since you've talked about it, but it doesn't ring a bell. Okay. So this is really, really my first experience with it, and my first experience to give you I guess a description is just like, this movie is just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps going and it keeps pushing the line. It keeps like doing like, okay, what else can we do? How much money we have left in the budget? All right, what else can we do? What else can we do? Like it just keeps going.
Oh God, no. No, this is Hull House.
Miles, I'm sorry.
You tricked me.
No, Shirley didn't tell me.
Sorry, babe. The Ritz was booked.
No. No, take me home. I can't go here.
Would somebody shut her up?
Take me home. I can't go.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
I can't go. I can't go.
Maybe we should discuss this. Yes. Nobody knew that it was here.
They're overruled.
And I think that's something that is worth saying since you mentioned it there. I mean, the budget was nothing. It was $1.4 million. It's essentially, we talked to Chris Stuckman last week about Shelby Oaks. He had 1.4. He had a group of backers to raise that exact.
Crowdsourced it, yeah.
Crowdsourced it. Thank you. Yeah, crowdsourced like basically that exact budget. Now, obviously, 1.4 million probably goes a lot further in 1994 than it does in 2025. But point being is that like that's nothing. You can barely make a movie with that even back then. So I think it's really impressive what they were able to do just with that amount of budget. And obviously, this didn't go to theaters. We'll talk about it here in a moment. But like this went straight to video. But it has gained like a pretty respectable cult following. So I think before we go any further, Aaron, go ahead and give a summary, just in case people are listening to this and have never watched it. And I would not be surprised if most people have not watched this movie. This is my endorsement. I guess, as I've already talked about, I don't need to give initial thoughts, but like this movie is particularly special to me, but for no particularly special reason outside of the fact that I remember watching it as a young person. Like I can recognize that it's bad,
I just one question before I read the summary. Melissa or Mouse in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Does she come in at all in the original?
No.
Isn't that supposed to be Angela's sister or something?
Yeah, it's basically just sort of breezed over in this film that, yeah, that's Angela's sister. And I guess the way the story is told in the movie is that while Mouse was living at home, her parents received a letter that was signed and like it was written in like blood. and it was signed by Angela with like her accurate signature. And then like her parents just like they killed themselves, and then she was left to the home to I think it's St. Mary's is the name of the Catholic school, which is a school for like troubled youths, you know, like people who kids get in trouble. And she's like seems like a pretty normal person, like a normal kid, like a normal nerdy girl. So it's kind of weird that she was brought there, but yeah, it's not really discussed, and it's kind of just you're just supposed to like accept that that's Angela's sister.
About as much as we accept a fucking complete like ninja nun.
You know, that's like one of the only attachments. Like there's little winks and nods, like the face in the toilet. That's a character from the first movie.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that in the movie. You had to have seen the first one to kind of know. The lipstick, that's another one. Like there are certain nods to the first movie. The dancing, like Angela's dancing throughout the movie. She has this really the best part about the first movie is this badass dance scene that she has. This like demonic dance scene that Amelia Kincaid has in that first movie. And she also has one in this movie kind of on top of a table with some punch. And she has another one in the third movie. So like she's a dancer, clearly. But that first movie, it's pretty awesome. Again, callbacks to the first movie that maybe you had to have seen to know what was going on.
Contractually obligated to put a dance scene for her into each movie.
That's right.
So the summary is serving as a sequel to the 1988 cult classic Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons 2 takes place 6 years after the original massacre at Hull House. Angela's younger sister, Mouse, now attends a strict Catholic boarding school, still traumatized by Angela's mysterious disappearance. When a group of rebellious students tricks Mouse into joining them for a Halloween party at Hull House, they unwittingly awaken Angela's demonic spirit as Angela begins killing and possessing the group. A courageous nun, Sister Gloria, leads the remaining students in a battle of faith versus evil to send Angela back to hell once and for all.
Mm-hmm. Now, this film was released on May 13th, 1994. On a budget again of $1.3 million. This was released direct to video, as I said earlier, and while it was initially received with mixed reviews, it almost instantly became a home rental cult classic for horror fanatics. Leading into the millennium, again, and this is sort of leads back to what I was talking about earlier, Aaron, is that as we drifted away from VHS, this film and sort of the larger Night of the Demons franchise and a lot of these like sort of B schlocky horror films and other, not just horror, but like I think very specifically about horror and how like those movies generally have a low budget so they can be made very quickly and cheaply. They all sort of fell into obscurity when we moved on to DVDs and Blu-rays, because a lot of those movies weren't converted over into those newer formats, because a lot of the publishing houses, the studios that made those films didn't continue on. Like Republic Pictures that made this film no longer existed once. Like it's owned by Paramount, but the actual studio that made the film no longer existed because it was absolved by Paramount. You know, all those smaller publishing houses no longer existed.
Probably the film and the backups and everything like that all end up in some storage room somewhere.
Totally.
Covered in dust.
Yep. And again, as I said earlier, I know I keep calling back to it, but this remained true until 2013 when physical media distribution company Shout Factory released a remastered collected box set of all 3 Night of the Demon films with extra commentaries, behind the scenes, and never before seen content. So that's what
not a sponsor.
Hashtag not a sponsor to Shout Factory, although keep doing God's work because, I would not have been able to see this film. I mean, I would have to probably rent it like Aaron, but I'm happy to own this set. You know, it's a fun sort of talking piece in my physical media collection because, as I've mentioned many times already, this is not a franchise that many people go to for A, they don't know about it, and B, they don't care about it because for the most part, it's not very good. I mean, even the entry that I like, I can recognize is not that great in a lot of ways.
You better recognize.
Well, and speaking on that, Aaron, I think it would be kind of silly of us to talk about different story beats, like go through this movie in a very like in-depth way. So I thought it'd be fun for me to just sort of give you a list of things that happened in this movie, and you just sort of tell me when you want to stop.
Sounds good.
Can you give me like an Angela growl if you want me to stop? There it is. Yeah, that's perfect. There it is. Okay. All right. So first 5 minutes of this movie, we get a reintroduction of Angela. She kills a couple of Bible thumpers in the cold open. The co-ed titty scenes almost immediately. We get that. Okay.
Again, gratuitous, like unnecessary, gratuitous tits. Like there's no, it makes, and then the other thing is you got a room full of dudes just hanging out in their whitey tighties, like blinds wide open, standing there with binoculars, like so dumb. Just so dumb.
Just a homoerotic group of frat guys just doing a bunch of grab ass,
Yeah.
with some binoculars.
And then the weird nerdy guy who's reading demonic stuff at a fucking Christian school.
That old chestnut, right?
Yeah.
Party moves to Hull House for no particular reason other than to trick Mouse into going and torturing her for being related to Angela. So that is, of course, done by Zoe Trilling's character, Shirley. She basically tricks everyone, but specifically Mouse, into going to this Hull House to torture her because she's a real jerk. Someone says, and Aaron, you mentioned this earlier, this place smells like Godzilla's butthole when they walk into Hull House.
Yeah, all I want to say on that is that anytime you can throw Godzilla or Godzilla's butthole into a movie,
totally,
I'm for it. So.
Yeah, that's a +1 in the Godzilla butthole category.
Yes. plus 5.
That's right. A demonic head appears in a toilet bowl, while Christine Taylor tries to use it. As we talked about earlier, Z-Boy gets possessed and then fucked by a demonic Angela.
There is so much like awkward sexual tension and sexual scenes in this. Like there's a lot of like random like lesbian kissing and a guy getting tongued and then fucked by a ghost.
Yep.
With nasty teeth.
Yep.
And then what was it? The other one is the lipstick.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Stand fast on that one because we'll get to it.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's up next here. So Shirley tries to use Lena Quigley's Suzanne's, again from the first movie, her lipstick, and it penetrates her. I think that's the nicest way to put it. And this is, again, calling back to the Evil Dead of it all, because we get a very similar thing with those tree branches in the first movie. And then also in the Evil Dead 2013 version, we get almost a much more similar version to this, where it's like a sort of a tentacly hentai type of. Yeah, go ahead.
That was the thing, is like at least in that one, it was not like enjoyed by the victim. Like this was uncomfortable because it goes from a very like R-word scene
to
like and so and then she like starts enjoying it, I think, and then there's like the kissing. It's just a weird moment, and
this movie's horned up, everybody.
I don't know where to go from there. I'm just like, I need an adult. And then,
I need a cold shower after watching this movie. Well, speaking of horned up, you have Zoe Trilling showing off some of her own moves there at the dance after she's been possessed. And her boobs also burn off Rick's hands.
Those were impressive.
The boobs or the effect?
The both, like the practical effects.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, yes, both.
I think it's worth saying now, and this is the only time that I'm bringing up my own sort of youth into this. Zoe Trilling owns a very special place in my heart as like, again, as someone who saw this movie way too young. She represented this like really mean, perfect woman. Like this like demonic, like for a long time, everybody. And I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I feel like if I'm going to, it's going to be right here live on the show while talking about the movie. Zoe Trilling to me was like, even watching it as a 34-year-old with like, again, fresh eyes, she is just like, she is so fucking hot in this movie. I don't know what it is. And I think like Zoe Trilling, and RIP to her, by the way, this is a weird time to bring it up, but she has since passed. But she had kind of like, this and Leprechauns 3 were really her two big breaks in Hollywood. And she left her mark with me, especially with this entry in Night of the Demons 2 as Shirley.
Sorry, slippery fingers. Name's Kurt. Ladies call me King Snake.
Oh, really? I heard they call you Inch One.
Yeah. Can I at least get the ball back?
Who's stopping you? I've got your ball.
Maybe we should throw ice water on them.
Oh, do you really think that would stop them?
It says a lot.
Is this telling? Is this telling for you?
No. I don't judge. We don't yuck anybody's yums around here.
We listen and we don't judge.
And
we listen and we don't
accept.
judge.
We accept.
We get a really awesome suiting up scene, a bitchin' suiting up scene by Sister Gloria.
Jesus.
Did you like that?
That was
It was like the scene from Batman Returns where they're like turn the butt scene.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. It was just comedic. Like she's pulling like meter sticks. Out of her drawer. Like what?
Leave some space for Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Angela sneaks in a handy on Kurt in the van. This scene was actually improvised on set that day. So that's a scene where Kurt and Christine Taylor's character, Terry, are making out in the van, and you see Angela's hand sort of come up from the bottom in the crotchal area.
Unzip, like very, very dexterous.
Yes, very much so. Let's see here. We get to see Zoe Trilling and Christine Taylor briefly make out, and Chris's road to manhood was officially born. We see Father Bob continues to believe that this whole thing is a prank and wants to go back to reading Catcher in the Rye. Johnny finds a demonic Kurt outside dribbling his own head like a basketball.
So stupid.
We have holy water balloons / squirt guns are OP in this universe.
This is very Lost Boys.
Yes.
Very Lost Boys, very Monster Squad.
And speaking of those OP squirt guns and balloons, BB hits Z-Boy in the dick with that
was painful.
Yeah. Angela decapitates Sister Gloria, but apparently she's made, or maybe possibly turtle, because she was then able to retract her head into her robe or something.
So fucking stupid.
After being defeated by the OP holy squirt gun, Angela returns in the form of a weird snake monster, which is a great effect. I mean, say what you want about like how silly that idea is. I think it's a great practical, and like to see and hear the crew in the behind the scenes content on the Blu-ray talk about how they were able to create that with like basically floss and a seesaw and some great practical work from the design team. Bravo. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
It's the best effect in the entire franchise. Like every other Evil Dead copy throughout this universe doesn't come close to that snake monster in the finale of this movie. Angela is eventually defeated by a cross-shaped beam of light. And then all is well at the end of the film, except Suzanne's lipstick is found on the side of the road by another girl, and is probably going to be penetrating her pretty soon.
And then you get the where the rest of the budget was spent on some kind of computer graphic snake thing.
Yeah, it's very similar. And again, I don't recommend this, everybody, but if you watch the third Night of the Demons, the intro is this same very like PS1, terrible computer generated intro. It looks like 8-bit, that cartoon from back in the 90s. It looks like that kind of.
You mean Reboot?
Reboot. Yeah, sorry. Reboot. Yes.
You're good.
It looks like Reboot.
How dare you? I love that show.
Do not besmirch Reboot. How dare you?
Do not. I still love that show.
Did I miss anything that you maybe caught during the film?
No, I don't think you missed anything. It was just, again, it's a weird fever dream of a horror story that just keeps going. Doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense. Sadly, the kid you thought was going to be like the hero of the whole thing was like dies. Mm-hmm. And it's just a lot of like
Johnny in the movie.
It's like, what the fuck is happening here? But it was enjoyable to watch. I found myself enjoying it.
The story is like truly, it's like third. It's not even secondary. Like it's titties and kills. That's like really, that's first and second, most important.
Yeah. Also the fact that these kids choose who lives and dies by just pure like you could pour holy water down their throat apparently and cure them,
right?
But we're just gonna fucking water balloon and shoot super soak people's dicks off,
Oh yeah. They weren't really worried about saving anybody but Christine Taylor in this
exactly.
movie. They wanted to bring her back for another one. I guarantee that's why that happened. Aaron, talk about the director here.
So you got Brian Trenchard Smith is the director from this gem. Trenchard Smith primarily directed made-for-television and direct-to-video films, shocker. Several of his films have garnered cult followings and have been subject to critical reevaluation. He has even been cited as one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite directors, which I think is a high accolade.
Totally. I said totally. Yeah,
totally.
I could see how, again, for a long time, and Aaron, I know you remember this quite well, is that like these type of movies were just sort of thrown to the side, and we're like, this sucks. Like, who thought this was a good idea? And then now we look at it with new eyes and in a new, like after a couple of decades, and we're like, oh, I see. This was never supposed to be this like great looking, thought provoking Citizen Kane type of movie. This was supposed to be fun and hot. That's all they wanted to do, was have a good time on set and make a couple bucks and see some titties. I think that's really the goal of this film.
So Chris, I'm going to go down his notable works, okay? And then you tell me if you've seen it or not. Okay. So The Siege of Firebase Gloria from 1989.
No.
Okay. Night of the Demons 2, 94. Leprechaun 3, 95.
I have seen it.
Yep. Leprechaun 4 in Space, 96.
I feel like I've seen it like in passing on Sci-Fi, but not like I don't have the Blu-ray. You know what I mean? Like I
haven't
don't own
sat
it.
down to watch it in totality.
It's not on my Letterboxd logged list. Okay.
Happy Face Murders from 1999.
No.
Okay. Britannic 2000.
No.
Megiddo, the Omega Code 2.
Nope.
Yikes. Aztec Rex 2007.
No.
I don't know. It feels like the Aztecs brought back a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm curious what that's about.
It's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's exactly that. Like it's literally just that. Taking place in 1521 off the coast of Mexico, a group of Aztecs worship and make sacrifices to a pair of Tyrannosaurus Rexes until one is reborn.
Huh. Called it. Drive Hard 2014.
I have not, but this has John Cusack in it and Thomas Jane. So that's interesting.
Huh. Okay. And then, so Christy Harris, BB, Zoe Trilling, Shirley, and Merle Kennedy, Mouse, they would go on to make uncredited cameo appearances in Brian Trenchard Smith's next straight-to-video horror sequel, Leprechaun 3, in 1995.
Quickly, Aaron, which entry of Leprechaun is your favorite?
Probably Leprechaun in the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood. Okay. Does he go to Vegas at one point?
He does.
That's the one I like, I think. Is that number 2?
I could not tell you that.
I don't know. Warwick Davis. Shout out to Warwick Davis. You know?
Warwick Davis, the Willow.
That's right.
Fucking everything. Like that guy's the man.
Well, since we're talking about
not me, not Hermione.
You. Aaron, talk about the cast here. Because again, I think this is maybe one of the most interesting parts about this movie.
All right, so you got Amelia Kincaid as Angela Franklin, Christy Harris as BB, Zoe Trilling as Shirley Finnerty, Jennifer Rhodes as Sister Gloria, Christine Taylor as Terry, Merle Kennedy as Melissa Mouse Franklin, Darren Heems as Z-Boy, Robert Jane as Perry, Rod McCrary as Father Bob, Johnny Moran as Johnny, shocker, Rick Peters as Rick, wow, they went hard on these, Lad Yorks as Kurt.
Why did they just name him Lad? Lad York, just keep him Lad. Why
Lad.
not?
Just give everybody the same fucking name.
All right, Aaron, this is going to be real. Well, before we get weird, particular character that who is the hottest girl and who's the one guy you found the least insufferable?
I'm probably going to say the bad girl. Who's the bad girl?
Zoe Trilling? Are you talking about Angela?
No. Zoe Trilling.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I almost want to say Johnny because he was like in it the least.
Yeah. Well, he's always like, Father Bob, let me do my demonic things.
Yeah.
I just want to summon a demon.
I did it, Father. I summoned a demon.
That's the inflection that I have there is exactly how he talks. He's like, but Father Bob, that's how he talks the entire movie. And he clearly has the hots for Mouse at one point. He's kind of the reason this happened because had he not had that demonic book, Zoe Trilling's Shirley character would not have stolen it. I'm not absolving her of any agency here, but like she is a dick and like you fuck around, you find out. Like he's the catalyst of this whole movie. So yeah, Zoe Trilling, of course, as I said, is like sort of she's on the Mount Rushmore of Chris's hot girls, whatever that means. It means nothing, everybody, but like that's just it's a fact. She's like up there with like Topanga, like Danielle Fishel and Jennifer Lawrence.
Who's currently on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Olivia, the actual love of my life. She had told me that. And then let's get weird, Aaron. You ready to get really weirded out? Because I'm sure you don't know this. And I don't think the listeners know this, but I found this out during the commentary. So Christy Harris, who plays BB, sort of the central character in this film, she accepted the role of BB when she was only 16 years old. Yikes. She had just turned 17 during the filming of this film. That means that the scene that we see in this film where she has sex at the Hull House with, I want to say, is it Rick?
They didn't
or Kurt
go to fruition, did they?
They don't, but we do see some boobs. We do see.
Yeah, true.
That's just really odd that they would do that and that like everyone on set thought that was a good idea. And to be fair, hearing Christy Harris talk about it in like behind the scenes stuff, she was totally on board and she eventually did a ton of other topless scenes throughout her career. But like at 16, no one said no. Like no one thought to be like, come on, guys, like let's all be the adult in the room and not make her do this. And speaking on that, we'll get, there's more titty facts, Aaron. Kristen Taylor is obviously by far the most famous person in this film. She had already been making spot appearances on television, like on Saved by the Bell, and she was in the Nickelodeon show, Hey Dude. This was only her third film, though, and this is her first, like, sort of, I guess, co-starring. She was mostly a background character in other films. She would, of course, go on to become Marsha Brady.
Marsha.
In the next year in the Brady Bunch movie and then the Very Brady sequel. And then the year after that, in the same year of the Very Brady sequel, or whatever it's called, she would co-star in The Craft as well. One of our fun-loving jocks, Rick, sarcastically refers to her in the film as Marsha. This is before she's even cast as Marsha Brady. So I found that really interesting. And then during the casting process of this film, Christine Taylor was initially cast because she's attractive, and she refused to show her boobs. Like, she was not going to do it. Everybody shows their boobs in this movie except for her and Mouse. And she was asked to do that, and she refused. They even offered her double her salary to have a 10-second topless scene. She still refused, still got the part. But I just found that really interesting that she was the only one that sort of stood her ground and refused to do it.
Damn.
So. And then last fun fact here we have is that Amelia Kincaid, who of course plays Angela and sort of the central character of this franchise, she has an uncredited role in 1989's the Patrick Swayze classic Roadhouse, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
She plays a sexy background dancer in at the Double Deuce. So, all right, Aaron, again, there's not really much else to talk about. You know, we talked about sort of the experience of it all, you know, the fun facts. Again, this episode is going to have the most info about this movie on the internet, like undeniably. So I guess, how do you want to round out this conversation about Night of the Demons 2 and sort of our Halloween special? Like, is there anything else left to say about the second entry of a franchise, of a B horror franchise? Are you happy that we chose this year for our Halloween special?
I'm not upset. I'm not mad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm okay with it. It's, I don't really know how to approach that question, to be honest.
You said something really interesting earlier where you said that, like, you needed this. I'd love for you to sort of expand on that. Like,
Okay.
why did you need Night of the Demons 2 at this exact moment?
I think it's because I realized that, like, again, I had not been watching a lot of like horror films, and I had not been, and I needed like a good, like, silly, stupid horror film, because I was at that time. It's like, I'll tell you this, because the other night, was it last night? Last night watched Together. James Franco and I forget her name all the time.
I did not like it. I watched it too. I did not enjoy it whatsoever. It's Neon, so Neon usually puts out, at the very least, they put out interesting movies, and that movie had some cool ideas, but didn't love especially the ending. I didn't love the ending.
Oh, didn't like the ending at all. I enjoyed the movie itself. Did not like the ending. I'm a person who needs like a good resolution when it comes to what's going on in the plot, and I did not get that, like that weirdness at the end, the assumption that's left up to the audience or you know, whomever. Like, it was just kind of like but I wasn't in the mood for something lighthearted, but I needed something that was a little bit scary, like with like some of the fun, probably Evil Dead-esque, like this. I needed this. This was a good medium for continuing that Halloween feeling at a moment where I was like, I didn't really need either other end of the scary spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll end our conversation on this. And I think I've made my feelings on this movie pretty apparent. And I hadn't seen the first and third one until in preparation for this conversation. And I won't recommend people to go watch that first and third one. There's actually a remake, Aaron, from 2009 as well. That is,
really,
from my understand, way worse than even those other entries. So, and it doesn't have any of the cast from this. Like, it's a totally complete reboot with the girl from American Pie. So my point, I guess my final thought on this movie is that this type of movie, as silly and sort of slutty as it is, there's value, I think, here. Like, there is something to be taken from this genre, the sort of comedy horror. I think it's really easy and sort of, I think, a bit lazy to look at movies like this and go, wow, that's stupid. This has no value whatsoever. I very much disagree with that sort of notion. And I push back on it only because I was that person for a very long time. And I thought that, like, these movies were just trashy B movies that can just be lost in the ether of time. But, like,
no, we need them.
Like, hearing the people that made this movie, I think I already was starting to grow an appreciation for these type of movies, like sort of schlock, large in part to this show and like our shared sort of experiences with these type of movies. But I think it really hit home when listening to the folks that made this movie talk about it. Like, you hear anybody talk about this movie, the people who were involved, and they have nothing but great experiences. Like, it was fun for them to make this movie. That's a lot rarer than we sometimes imagine in Hollywood. Like, a lot of people go and make movies for a paycheck or for exposure or to further their career in some other way. it's very rare that you get to make a movie that you're really excited about and that you have fun doing. And I think, again, at the very least, I know that happened. And if I can find some enjoyment in this and still find enjoyment in it in my mid-30s in 2025, then I'm really happy to have always had like a nice sort of rose-colored glasses on while looking at while viewing this movie. Because again, as I said, I sort of had this idealized version of this movie in my head, and to reapproach it again and watch it and sort of look at it, even with like a little bit of an analytical eye and like do some research, it was a really fun experience. That's kind of my long-winded way of saying that. So,
no, I love that. I think that's a great way to put it. I think it's a great way to look at just that era of films and that style of filming, that style of story writing. So I really actually appreciate that perspective.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like Halloween's supposed to be fun, right? Like it's not all supposed to be Hereditary. Like I love Hereditary and Midsommar and Rosemary's Baby and these like very self-serious, thought-provoking horror films. But like when I think of horror, or when I think of Halloween and like movies, like you talked about how like you haven't watched as many horror films as you had liked leading up to Halloween. We're releasing this the day of Halloween, as we do every year. Olivia and I made a very distinct effort to watch a ton of horror films. And I think the majority of our films that we chose were sort of like comedy horror, or like at least ones that have like a bit of levity to them and aren't so self-serious, because those like very deeply serious horror films can like drain on you mentally. And in the current world that we live in right now in 2025, we do not need more of that, you know?
Absolutely agree.
It's the levity, I think, is what I think we need. So at least that's
100%.
Yeah.
Welcome. I'm so glad you could join us on this very special occasion.
Oh, we really can't stay. We've just come from Melissa. We're taking her home with us.
Melissa? Oh, you mean Mouse? Well, I'm afraid you're mistaken about that. You see, Mouse is home, and so are you. Or hadn't you figured that out yet?
This place is not a home.
Oh, but it is. That's why I let you make it all the way up here. To the inner sanctum. The very threshold of infinity.
Let us know, everyone, who's the hottest girl in this movie to you guys. Watch the movie and then tell us.
Or guy.
Or yeah, hey, if you got a hot guy, if you like Lad, aka Kurt in the film, or you like Father Bob, or even if you like Johnny and his weird demonic obsessions, let us know. We'd love to hear it. So I think that'll do it for our Halloween special this year. That'll do it for Night of the Demons too. We can put that one to bed. Angela can finally rest easy in her weird catacomb, what was that, crematorium thing that's in her basement?
The room that didn't exist before.
Yeah. All right, well, that'll do it. Like I said, next week, Aaron, we'll be talking to, speaking of iconic, someone that we greatly respect and love, Kelly Sue DeConnick joins the show, Aaron, next week to talk about her and David Lopez's excellent Dark Horse punk rock series, FML.
Punk rock.
That's right. We talked to Kelly a couple weeks ago. Issue 7 comes out here, I think, in a couple weeks, maybe the week of that I release this episode, or possibly the week after. If you're not reading FML, my gosh, like I mentioned this, Aaron, during our New York Comic Con panel. FML's, I think, like the comic for me. It's my 2025 comic.
Yeah.
I've read other great comics, but if you were to ask me, like, what's a comic that I felt was sort of made for my particular, very specific, even niche preferences in comics, inside jokes, panel layouts, all the things. Kelly Sue and Daviv absolutely kill it with FML. So I just cannot recommend people enough to go check out their Dark Horse series, FML.
Yeah, they've got a definite hotline to like how to write and portray emotions. Mm-hmm. And to reach emotions. I definitely enjoyed reading it as well, and I'm excited for the next issue.
They tap into this idea of what it's like to be sort of a millennial that's going into parenting, and how we still very vividly remember what it's like to be a youth, be one of the teeny boppers. Yeah. But like that's no longer us, you know? But also at the same time, what it's like to be a young person in today's world and how tough how it has its own hurdles. You know? I
think the interesting thing about it, though, is, and I'm sure you're probably starting to see this and starting to realize this, is there were things that were popular. Like our parents, when we were kids, they were like, oh, those are popular. I used to wear those when I was a kid, like bell bottoms and big chucks and things like this. And then, you know, when we're a kid, we're like, nah, shut up. Like it's cool. Like this, it's just regular
It's all about
stuff.
the mud jeans and
then now we look at these young kids and they're wearing the same stuff from the 90s. They're wearing punk rock clothing. They want to be punks. They want to wear Chucks. Like, studded belts are back. Those were huge when I was in high school. And it's like what Kelly Sue is writing is that perspective of us hitting that age where it's like, holy shit, it's our turn.
Yeah. And like fashion and like sort of culture is cyclical. It will circle back at some point. Like we will hit a problem, we'll get past it, and then we'll reapproach that problem in another way down the road, both individually and just like as a people, as a species. We're currently seeing that with fascism. So hopefully we get past that eventually. But anyway, Kelly and David talk about that quite a bit during that series, and even in our conversation, we get pretty political at one point, and we even talk about a bunch about the military. So make sure you guys tune in for that episode 219. But I think that'll do it for our 6th annual Halloween special, Kitties, and we have done it, Aaron. So I'm gonna hand it off to you. Take us out of here. All right.
Thanks for being here, Chris. I had a good time talking one of your favorite movies of all time. Finally got it out of your goddamn system.
Finally. Next year is yours.
Yes. Subscribe to our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We'll be there. Thank you to our patrons, Alice, Aaron, Botter, Brad, Brendan, Brennan, Brett, Chris, S, Chris Y, Chrissy, David, Elliot, Erica, George, Yanni, Greg, Ham 6, Jake, Jeremy, Joe, John M, Justin, Kyle, Kristen, Lucy, Mike, Mac, Olivia, Ryan, I, Robert, Saunter, Scott, Sebastian, Sean, Travis, Tyler, Zach, and Brad and Lisa for comic book couples counseling.
Luckily, that list keeps getting longer. So, like,
yes,
one of these days you're not going to be able to do that.
I'm just going to pass out.
You're going to get to like
do it,
Sebastian,
or I will die.
Yeah.
If you want to support the show without spending any money, a follow on your preferred podcasting platform, and a 5-star rating and/or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything that helps the show a ton. Please give us those ratings. Follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok @Oblivion Bar Pod. Official merch for the show can be found on our website, oblivionbarpodcast.com. Big thank you to Oni Press and Endless Comics, Games, and Cards for sponsoring the show. Thank you, KXD Studios, for all of our Oblivion Bar art. He's at KXD Graphics on Instagram. Thank you, Dream Kid, for all of our musical themes. Thank you, DJ Skyvac, for our grid theme. And last, but definitely not least, do not forget to tip your bartenders, hosts, waitresses, musicians, street buskers, your hot dog vendors, your
demonic
drug dealers,
snake ladies,
your demonic snake ladies, your Catherine Zeta-Jones dancing in titties.
That's right.
So, yeah,
your Salma
20% or more.
Hayek. Speaking of demonic,
was it Salma Hayek? Not Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek. Speaking of hot demon ladies,
hot
Salma
demon
Hayek.
snake ladies.
That's right. All right, everybody, that'll do it for the Oblivion Bar this week. Thank you so much for joining us.
Call the
for
sex machine.
Halloween special. Make sure you guys stay safe out there for Halloween. Have a nice spooky day.
Yes.
Get lots of candy. Watch a scary movie.
Ooh. From Dusk Till Dawn is a Halloween episode.
Hey, next year. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It's like Doctor Who. All right, everybody. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.